Poison gas, torture chambers,
mass graves,
deadly technologies,
radical ideology of hate,
terror of threats,
terror,
war on terrorism, war against terrorism,
global war on terror,
global terrorism,
For unless the region can live within boundaries that are multi-ethnic, you will never, never, never see God in a political sense.
Tonight we have the remarkable
destruction, men armed with knives.
If someone looks authoritative enough, yells louder repeatedly, doesn't represent accuracy, and is legitimate.
Armed forces joined our NATO allies in airstrikes against Serbian forces responsible for the brutality in Kosovo. We have
The power of mass media to shape minds is a power well proven, and the use of the media by those with an agenda can make the biggest of lies seem believable.
My recommendation would be to never, never, never change the name or negotiate with Greece.
In 2000, the International War Crimes Tribunal announced that the final count of bodies found in Kosovo was 2,788. This included Serbs, Roma, and those killed by the Kosovo Liberation Front.
We were told that we were bombing in the name of humanity, that we had to stop genocide. But after the Serb army pulled out of Kosovo and the forensic teams were the first to rush in, there have been very few bodies found.
It was a far cry from the 100,000 that had adorned our television screens, on the internet, and in our newspapers, that justified forceful NATO intervention. The media became an instrument of nation building, to suit the agendas of power mongers, business interests, and commercial benefit. Truth was pushed aside, and anything remotely resembling reality was quickly suppressed, censored, or completely covered up. Human rights abuses were brandished as a sword by politicians and the media to justify a war that saw reality warped beyond recognition, and a minority overcome the might of Serbia without ever firing a single shot.
Positioned themselves inside a barbed wire enclosure to shoot out at refugees, who were free to come and go as they pleased. The camera zeroed in on a refugee whose emaciated appearance was the result of a birth defect.
The claims of 100,000 dead Albanians, whose human rights had been violated, appealed to the sympathy of the world and became an effective tool to destroy monasteries, ancient ruins, and sacred medieval churches without conscience.
They were calling Albanians ethnic Albanians in order to signal to the people that they were the victim. Do you remember that? They used the word ethnic in order to make the people in America think that they were the victim. I mean, I remember this propaganda campaign, Ted, from the beginning.
The use of media has played a key role in sustaining the idea of a humanitarian foreign policy since the end of the Cold War. Complex conflicts have been simplified into epic battles between good and evil. Enemies have been demonized beyond the point of recognition, and victims have been created out of thin air. Is it any wonder then, that the former Yugoslav Republic in its dispute with Greece over the name and history of Macedonia, has adopted the very same tactics that were used to usurp a historical and religiously significant land from the Serbs?
This is our minority report. Zero minority! Oh!
Videos depicting a small nation, demanding its right to self-determination, being victimized by a tyrannical Greece, have flooded the internet and media. You can find articles in the media, resembling more the work of paid mouthpieces than genuine journalism, as they condemn Greece for its alleged standover tactics of the smaller Yugoslav Republic, but never reveal the history of the area, or of the atrocities committed by the communists, who now pushed their age-old irredentist plans.
It was moving away from being a hodgepodge of small city-states into a nation that had a sense of being one, of being Greek more than Athenian, Greek more than Spartan, and to begin to identify its own values and cultures, not as individual city-states, but as a nation as a whole.
The former Yugoslav Republic has recruited lobbyists who are currently very active in the halls of Washington. Propagandists have been utilized around the world to create and complete the illusion.
Greece had the opportunity since 1913 to utilize that name.
Are you tired of politicians ignoring the rights and interests of Macedonian Australians?
Μέλος ενός κόμματος μέσα από το οποίο προσπαθεί να εκφραστεί η μακεδονική μειονότητα στην Ελλάδα. Δεν υπάρχει μειονότητα τώρα, δεν είναι αποδεκτή. Μπορείτε να λέτε ότι δεν με βλέπετε, κανένα πρόβλημα. Θα ήθελα να πω ότι το μέτρο δημοκρατίας για τη χώρα...
Προσωπικά εγώ είμαι και άεθνος και άθρησκος, με απόλυτους όρους κοινωνικής ανθρωπολογίας. Η δική μου επιλογή να είμαι εθνικά Μακεδόνας είναι πολιτική επιλογή.
Pseudo-historians and PhDs have been recruited to falsify history and put forth bizarre theories about who the Greeks of today are. It is a drive that has made the ancient Greeks extinct, and the modern Greeks everything but Greek because they, like the rest of the world, have evolved with time. Do we think that the Mycenaean Greeks dress like the Greeks of the classical period? Did Shakespearean England have the same morality, food, political institutions of England today? Should the Greeks dress like Pericles, have exactly the same form of language with Demosthenes in order to be Greeks? The Greeks are not living in a museum, they are not fossils. Nowadays the Greeks are depicted as Turks, Ethiopians, Albanians and Slavs by the former Yugoslav Republic and its diaspora, to disassociate them from their history, which in turn disconnects them from their name and detaches them from ownership of their land. The intentions of the former Yugoslav Republic are clear, as the plans of the power-mongers behind them, who are carving up the world for personal profit, are clear. Like Kosovo, the nationalistic government of the former Yugoslav Republic hopes to isolate Greece, as a country which severely violates human rights, carry the dispute and claims of their fledgling state within the borders of modern-day Greece, and as a result, have Greece meet the same fate as Serbia. Nothing has been spared in the marketing battering ram to disconnect Greece from the name Macedonia and usurp the history and land from Greece in favor of the Yugoslav Republic. And for this illusion they have to rile your sympathies no matter what the cost. Since the 2.6 million Greeks of Macedonia have a cultural Macedonian identity, they cannot forgo their own identity just because half as many Slavs north of their land decided to usurp the name Macedonian and tried to make it an ethnic name. Propaganda and media hype are spectacular, and they can dazzle. But the reality is, that it is all just an illusion. They believe, and rely on your ignorance, and are confident, that you will not search out the truth for yourselves. Before you discount this issue as too far away from you to matter, think about what is happening in your own country. Then think about what you are allowing to grow, and what you are investing in, by believing in the well-orchestrated media campaign of those intent on deceiving us, for their personal gain.